This is Trip White and Will Ogburn. Armed with a fuse box and a small rocket, they're preparing for a big launch.
We're testing out to see if these rockets are still viable, or I guess potent, or still able to use. So we constrained this small A rocket down with a strip of duct tape held down by another 2 strips of duct tape. Over those are 2 other strips of duct tape, so that should be pretty sturdy.
How safe do you feel about that?
I feel pretty safe.
It wasn't safe. But these two are going to arm the rocket anyway in preparation for an even more hazardous launch.
Alright guys, let's back up.
And so, it was in this tiny tower that common sense met its demise.
1.
Ignition is successful, but the flames and smoke are propelled directly at Will Ogburn, who quickly hops out of the way and into the camera. Oh, they also set the fire alarm off.
I'm sorry, I mean... Oh,
What was that? Fire alarm, fire alarm.
No, it's not. Yes, it is.
So there's the extinguished rocket, and there's the, you've got your nice, there's the apex, and then you can see where it actually burned. You've got a nice little, I don't know, ozone layer. Then you've got some tree bark over there.
That doesn't make sense.
After mixing together a secret chemical compound, they remove the burn marks from the stone, and Trip and Will begin working to attach rockets to their launch vehicle. Wait, what the f*** is that? That's their launch vehicle? Okay. With the rocket now ready for launch, they were staring down the barrel of a really bad idea.
Wait! We need a Sharpie. We need to name it something. We need a girl's name.
Dude, let's name it Shiva.
Let's do it.
Joining them was cameraman Michael Shikani, who was reluctant to be involved in their shenanigans due to his Arab descent and for the fact that he forgot to shave that morning. But he was prepared to capture whatever the was about to happen.
I'm hoping to get some good footage here. I have my GoPro Hero 3 Black Edition set to 120 frames a second, so we're going to get some good looking slow motion shots if something, God forbid if something goes bad, which you know.
Next, they needed to set up their launch pad. Sure, a rock will do just fine. Maybe another rock. Perfect.
Boom.
That's great.
We need to get it as far away from those dudes in the tent as we can.
Oh yeah, you would rather aim it at the houses?
It's almost time for launch, so Trip is making the final preparations. Is the launch switch on? We're not sure. Nobody checked. Is the box full of highly flammable rockets at a safe distance from the launch pad? Not really, but hey, they're the professionals. Now dubbed with a moniker, the fuse clamps are attached and the Messy Messy is ready for launch.
Give us a countdown, Tipper.
3, 2, oh god, 1.
Oh shit, okay.
The FAA never returned their pre-launch calls, so the boys proceed to review the wreckage of their beloved aircraft unassisted by any fire crew, law enforcement, or anyone who could be considered an actual professional.
And what is it, the nose? Should we call like the NTSB before we touch anything? They can tell us what the f we did wrong.
Yeah, that's completely charred.
Yeah, I mean, this is what ended it. The clamps from the rocket ignition just flew off and got caught in the tail and just ripped the back of the fuselage off. So it very well could have gotten farther. It would have gotten farther.
That's why you put the rockets on the bottom.
Wow.
With the adrenaline rush of a near minor injury experience, the boys wanted more.
He's gonna go grab a shaft of fake bamboo.
Ramping up the stakes from their last launch, 3 rockets are securely duct taped to the shaft. But as the boys step back and analyze the numerous possible catastrophic outcomes of this situation, they begin to have second thoughts.
This is horrible.
Oh, I don't even know if I want to be a part of this anymore.
After much deliberation, the boys decided that they needed to perform a test, pushing the limits of innovation. The automobile, the airplane, the International Space Station, the $5 footlong, Joan Rivers.
The Cube.
Innovations that change the world. but they all pale in comparison to the ingenuity of Trip and Will.
We're pretty much just trying to test out this rocket and see how powerful this rocket is, just to make sure, like, get kind of a gauge of what's going on. So we don't want to just dry run it.
The awe. With the wood block in place, they prepare for launch in 3, 2, 1.
What the hell?
It doesn't work, so they promptly defuse the rocket and, suspecting the fuses to be at fault, put in new ones.
It's a dud. Well, you could blame that on the Coriolis effect, or it could be actually the sun's rays. Sometimes at certain times of the day, you get what's called the Navajo effect, which can greatly reduce the chances of you successfully launching a rocket tied to a piece of wood.
Right.
Things weren't looking up for the boys, but desperate for another slightly arousing adrenaline rush, they soldiered on. Sensing things could go wrong, Michael called for backup.
That's actually the tanker. It's got fire retardant in it, so if this all just catches on fire, he's gonna drop down to about 300 feet and just empty out that whole load. So we do have some coverage on this.
Trial run 3, new fuse, same rocket. Is everyone wearing the safety goggles?
And then that little rocket fell in the one place I thought to be safe.
Oh, it's going for your car.
Mother. Yes! Oh wow, is this Cloverfield? Oh, it's getting dark. This is Cloverfield. Daylight was dwindling, and the bamboo death projectile had yet to be freed of its gravitational limitations. Its flawless aerodynamic design was too revolutionary for the general public. Its release could cause chaos, riots, carnage. Recognizing this possibility, Trip and Will set out for a secret facility to test launch their masterpiece. 3 hours through the jungle, a place where the trees knew no roads. It was this woody shaft's time for flight. But with no launch pad, the boys improvise, pulling a crate out of their sacrificial fire pit. They prop the makeshift rocket at a 45-degree angle and examine the situation.
Like, I feel like up is a bad idea. You want to like aim it up that way?
I'm kind of trying to get this to go up. Because if it goes that way, it really won't.
I'm most concerned about fire.
It'll be fine. I mean, nothing out here is like flammable and that stuff.
Trees aren't flammable, right? They prepare for launch in 3, 2, 1.
This is some bullshit. Didn't work?
For today. These fuses doesn't work. Yep. About where we're at today, Tanner.
Oh, it didn't work? Oh, well, that's it. Bye. Goodbye. I'm leaving now. Bye. Fade to black. Things weren't looking up for the boys, but desperate for f*** you.
How about new, you crazy Dutch bastard?